Welcome back, guys. Mark here, Animus Empire. This week we're talking about responsibility. Something that a lot of conservative philosophers have been talking for the past 50, 75, 100 years about, that always telling you to take responsibility. Now, Jordan Peterson's taking up that mantle, and like his conservative ancestors, they don't tell you how to take responsibility. They just tell you to take responsibility and that it's important. But if you don't know how to do it, then how are you ever going to take responsibility on a consistent basis? That's what we're going to get into now in this video. How to understand really the mechanism behind taking responsibility. What it looks like. A great story that demonstrates responsibility. Maybe not a story. Well, no, I guess it is a story. The song Estranged by Guns N' Roses. Axl, who wrote it about unofficially his breakup with Aaron Everly, talks about how he feels estranged, but he goes through a transformation in the song. He goes from not taking responsibility to taking responsibility. In the beginning of the song, Axl says, he sings, he wails, and I quote, "How could you say I never needed you when you took everything, said you took everything from me?" Singing about Aaron Everly. How could you say this? How could you do this to me, Aaron Everly? I've given you everything, but you don't care. He's blaming. He's in the state of blaming in the beginning of Estranged. But then what happens? Axl listens to 4 totally awesome guitar solos from Slash. Then towards the end of the song, Axl says after this transformation that Slash guitar solos always put us through. Axl says, "When I find out all the reasons, maybe I'll find another way, find another day. With all the changing seasons in my life, maybe I'll get it right next time." Sounds like a William Shatner rendition. Maybe I'll do that. But Axl continues, "I'll never find anyone to replace you. Guess I'll have to make it through. This time, oh this time, without you." Axl is taking responsibility. Something about listening to those 4 awesome guitar solos made him take responsibility and said, you know what? I miss you. I'm not going to find anybody to replace you, but I'm going to make it through his emotional issues, make it through his life without you. And you know what? Maybe that's okay. If you listen to the song, as I have about 1,500 times, probably more than 1,500 times to be honest, there's this sense of acceptance. Axl has resigned that he is on his own in the healthiest way possible. But what did Axl do? Listen to Slash guitar solos. But let's say, let's try to deconstruct. That's what we're doing. We're deconstructing what Slash's guitar solos are saying. If you remember back to all my videos on emotional diagrams, on anxiety, on powerlessness, and anger in relation to hostility, taking responsibility is when we recognize that we're using our emotions to dump them on others. So with anxiety, it's powerlessness. We have our box of anxiety, and like our Aunt Bertha, that's the archetype, we just kind of dump it on other people. How do we do that? We complain, we're critical, we're passive aggressive, we're the victim, we're a martyr. How do you know when you're a martyr? Of course, when you walk around with the back of your hand firmly attached to your forehead. This is what your Aunt Bertha does. Always complaining, oh, I ate too much sugar, oh, this guy I'm dating, it's always something. Aunt Bertha doesn't feel like she's capable of handling the box of anxiety on her own, so she dumps it on other people. Or there's your Uncle Vinny in relation to anger. Has this box of anger and dumps it on other people. He doesn't feel like he's capable of handling the anger himself. So he has temper tantrums. He gets verbally abusive. All signs of hostility with Uncle Vinny and powerlessness with your Aunt Bertha. And that's what Axl's doing at the beginning of Estranged. He has this, oh, how could you do this? He's more like Aunt Bertha in the beginning of Estranged. Oh, how could you do this? Oh, how could you do this to me? when I needed you and I gave you everything. Axel's being a martyr, and not just because he's a Christ figure, which he is. So that's what responsibility is, or that's what lack of responsibility is. You are unconscious with your emotions. You are unconscious, at least partially, with your anger or anxiety. So how do we manage this? How do we understand what it means step by step to take responsibility? Well, the first thing you do is you just look at the signs, like I just mentioned. When you're passive aggressive, when you're hostile, when you're feeling powerless, this is when you're not taking responsibility for yourself. And it's fine, just recognize, oh, this is what not taking responsibility is. I watched all those Jordan Peterson YouTube videos. What does he mean by not taking responsibility? This: powerlessness or hostility. And then the second thing you do is you look at your payoff. This is crucial. There's a reason you are being powerless or you're being hostile. And the reason is some emotional payoff you get. Playing the victim may make you feel really good. It may make you feel like you're better than other people, like you get a false sense of self-righteousness, and you get to tell yourself a story about how, you're just better than everybody else and nobody can really appreciate you. That's what martyrdom is. You throw a temper tantrum, people pay attention to you. Like I've said before, maybe the only time anybody has ever paid attention to you in the past 20 years of your life, from 2 to 22, is when you throw a temper tantrum. That's the payoff that's the payoff you are getting, is you recognize what is it about me that likes not taking responsibility? Because I guarantee you, if you have a problem taking responsibility, then you like it. The third thing is to identify the emotion. So if you're acting like a victim, just go, oh, this is anxiety. I have an anxiety problem. I am not managing my anxiety in an appropriate way. That's okay. If you have a temper tantrums, if you're abusive in any way, if you want to, hurt somebody in any real way, revenge in a short-term sort of way, not in a Edmund Dante's kind of Monte Cristo kind of way. Okay, I have an anger issue. Just recognize what emotion is there. And then the fourth thing, once you recognize the emotion, I'm really breaking this down step by step so we don't miss anything, because whenever somebody talks about responsibility, like Jordan Peterson, they miss a lot. You feel the emotion. You get good at feeling the anxiety, feeling the anger that you've been avoiding. And how do we know that you've been avoiding it? Is because you've been unconscious with it. You have your box and you don't want to look at it. It's too painful again. You just dump it. I had an old professor of mine. She would sign off all her emails with "feel your feelings," or "be sure to feel your feelings today," which is annoying. But she's correct. Get good at feeling your feelings. But why are we feeling our feelings? It's not just to feel them. Probably was for her. But we're going to go a step further, and we are going to look at the root. Why are we feeling the anxiety? You know why you have anxiety, because there's a threat or a loss out there. Or maybe there's unconscious issues here that you're not dealing with. Why do we feel anger? Because there's a need that you need to get met, or an injustice that you need to get rectified. Look at the root of it, and then once we look at the root, the cause of our anger or anxiety, we do this. We confront our anxiety, we assert our anger. 95% of the time, it's a conversation, maybe with our mom or our dad, or at least that which our mom and dad represent. Authority, the father, and intimacy, the mother. This is how we take responsibility. This is what Slash is trying to tell us in those 4 sweet guitar solos. Now, Slash isn't a psychologist. He's a great guitar player. I'm the psychologist. I'm not the guitar player. So what I can do is just listen to what Slash is trying to tell us and put it into psychological terminology. So even if we can't play guitar as awesome as Slash, at least we can take responsibility for ourselves. Same thing, and make like Axl at the end of the song. This sense of acceptance, like these are my emotions, this is my reality, and ultimately that's what taking responsibility is. It's engaging with reality in a healthier way. And of course, how do we engage in reality in a healthier way? At least psychologically speaking, is we engage our emotions in a healthier way. And it's not your fault you haven't been able to do it up until now, because up until now, nobody has given you a structure to your emotions. This is it, guys. This is how we take responsibility. And I guess, now looking at this, if you don't remember it, just think Slash plays every freaking radical guitar solo. Okay, doesn't maybe work out. But you think of one. You think of some sort of acronym here. And we'll be back next week with more information. A lot of good. Sorry, there's somebody looking at me. Maybe it's Jimmy Stewart. We'll be back next week with more great information. In the meantime, take responsibility for yourself. And if you can't do this, at least listen to Estranged. It seemed to work for Axl.